I don't mind moving all over the world. I like hotels. I like going to different places. Acting is quite hard in its quiet way. Like any job, you know, you try and do it as best you can, and you always feel that you could have done better. So, in the same way as anyone doing any job. But I have a good life, and I am beyond fortunate that I get to do a variety of work with some great people. It seemed to me to be a wonderful way to hold a festival. It's a tiny, ancient square, which for me is very beautiful. The Italian night was so warm and lovely, and all the children being there, I think, is a marvelous thing. And I love the idea of the children's jury. And they had a tough job because they showed 3 or 4 animations, all of which I thought were completely brilliant. So the children's jury had a tough job. And then to sit and watch a movie with your friends and eat beautiful things, it's pretty good.
Uncle Frank. A shipwreck of a man, Sammy. 60s, looks older.
Seniors are not to be sneered at, Ambrose. Gravitas, experience, maturity. We all have a part to play in defeating Hitler.
Not this part, it's a corpse roll. He's dead before the end of Act 3.
Everything remains of me because it's psychologically and physically impossible to become anyone else. I've heard about those things, but they're outside of my experience. I have to remain intensely self-conscious because I'm at work and I get paid very well. So I have to focus, and you have to be self-conscious and you have to be, you know, yourself in order to monitor your movements, your speech, every nuance that you might be attempting in those areas. So the idea that I disappear or anything, no, I'm just at work. I go to work. It's like when you were a child and you pretended to rob a bank and your friends pretended to chase you, and they were the policeman and you were the, you know, it's only an extension of that. It's nothing more, it becomes more sophisticated, one would hope, but it's not anything other than that. And you know, you don't have to feel the things you are acting. That would be impossible most of the time, and it would be impractical, and it doesn't help. If you were to feel things, it can be a bonus, but that would be the result of technical triggers rather than the other way around.
I'm an actor, a somewhat derided calling, but mine nonetheless. Perhaps because we are engaged in an imitation of life, there is a common misconception that anything living can do what we do. You have found that not to be so, for which I offer my sincerest commiserations, but I am an actor. I know only my art of teaching, of coaching, of dumb show. Of these things, I'm afraid I know nothing. I'm so sorry to disappoint.
I didn't think I would have a life as an actor. I didn't think it was possible, and I didn't think I was capable. I mean, my work is important to me. I derive great personal satisfaction from it on a good day, but I'm an actor because I didn't want to be a lot of other things. I didn't want to go to the same place every day of my life for the rest of my life, and I didn't want to know how much money I was going to be making in 25 years' time. I didn't want to know. I didn't want anything where it was all predictable for the rest of my life, and I didn't have any particular skills, and I flunked school. I failed school, so I had no qualifications for any of the professions. And that's the story of a lot of actors. It's why you get a lot of aromatherapists. Aromatherapists are aromatherapists because they don't have qualifications for anything else, or they did something else and you know, it didn't work out. So now they're, you know what I mean? It's one of the, acting's one of those jobs. You don't need any qualifications. You don't, there isn't actually any training. There are people that will take your money and in order, by having you imagine that there is such a thing as training. Mostly you learn from experience. I don't mind aromatherapy. I prefer my therapy with aroma.
The propeller snow. If I can just cut it free.
Hurry, Uncle Frank.
Hey, Hannah!
Uncle Frank?
When I choose a story, there is a kind of, you do pay attention to, you want to be in things that have good intentions, that are in good faith, and that possibly will help. But they don't have to be direct political messages or direct even social messages. They just have to generally be promoting humanity, you know, and the things that we know to be of use in the world. In this case, yes, the film discusses, it's a film about making a film, and it is a propaganda film, but as you say, it's propaganda in a good way, because there was very little good news in those times. It was a brutal time, and people were dying all day long. And they didn't have TV, they had radio, but they didn't have television. The one big collective source of information was from the movies, from the cinema, and it was absolutely critical. Those movies were crucial, they were seriously important. And because there was no indication that we would win the war. Things looked very, very black. And so people needed to be emboldened, they needed to be motivated into just to carrying on, just to continue, you know. So yeah, they bent to the truth, but to good purpose.